Well, I'm the patient here today with Ronald McGimpsy, and we're going to be looking at amethyst crystals. Now, what is the power of amethyst crystals, Ron?
Amethysts take radiations or chemicals. Now, herbicides, fungicides, insecticides, all those things we use for weed killers and, on the fruit and everything, they actually biologically transmutate them and pull them all in out into the amethyst, and then we put the amethyst under a cold shower and we can get it back out again. So amethyst actually is always pulling towards itself, and it has a biologically transmutating effect. In other words, it makes harmful into harmless.
Okay, great. Well, tell you what, it's absolutely beautiful, really, isn't it?
It is. It actually, it would be hard to find a more beautiful stone. And the polished agate around the outside edge here, and it makes it a synergistic power. You'll find on the opposing, we always use these opposing, nearly all crystals, you can get about 4 or 5 times the power than you will with just using one on one side. If you use twin ones, one on each side of the patient, so get the patient in between, and it bounces back. You see, the energy's bouncing off, and it seems to increase in power. And it would be difficult to find any type of healing as good as this, because you must realize the energy from this is going right from one side of your body to the other. Again, there's no incisions, there's no time off work, there's no nasty stitches, there's no unsightly wheels, but we're actually to a certain extent operating. You see, we're actually getting friendly energies in there, very friendly actually, but they're going right inside the body.
So what sort of problems do people have that would need this type of crystal?
Well, mostly radiations. People are sitting in front of a computer, and if we don't have a obsidian crystal to stop the radiation off that, there's 1400 hertz coming off that, and it gradually builds up an electromagnetic debris. Other people are sitting directly in front of the TV instead of out to the side, and every time they press the remote control button, there's a 7 inches high, 7-inch wide beam goes 22 meters right through them, and that builds up an electromagnetic debris. So please, if you use a remote control, it's not the little box in your hand that radiates. When you press that, anything radioactivated is radioactive, and the tremendous power boost that takes place in the TV set just shoots you, but it only comes out straight in front. So if you just have a TV like that, for example, just angle it, and so it's shooting to either side of you.
Okay. Well, that's a pretty... What about alarm clocks?
Alarm clocks, if you've got one with hands going round, fine, whether it's run by a battery or wound up. But if it's got a digital clock, that liquid display unit runs at 240 hertz, and we run at 515 to 550, so it will discharge you. It is the most harmful and the most efficient war machine ever designed by man. So man has devised something that actually gradually builds up power inside the human body. It works by your own permissive degree for years and years, and you seem to be getting away with it, and all of a sudden you go down. So digital clocks cause cancer, heart disease, stroke, diabetes, arthritis, and the 4 first ones I mentioned are the 4 worst ways to die, and they're absolutely guaranteed. Nobody could ever fail, if they keep their red or green digital clock, to die of cancer, heart disease, or stroke or diabetes within 25 years. It's impossible. They always work. They never miss.
Okay, well, now getting back to the amethyst crystal, Ron, what are you and Fiona actually going to do today?
Well, what we're going to do is place these outsides of you. You actually work in television, of course, and inadvertently you're in a high electronic debris area, electromagnetic debris.
The electric is mercury.
Yeah, so we're going to suck a bit of that out of you. We'll try and leave all your brains behind.
Oh, okay.
And right. Okay,
Here
so we're
go.
going to come in close here, and we'll have opposing crystals. And then we'll put one just briefly right over the top. Now that'll be the prettiest hat you've ever had. all the new fashion, right?
Okay. Well, I tell you what, I could feel it was very cold. It felt quite cold.
Yes, you'd feel it cool. That's like a draft, but there's not a draft, but that's what you'd feel. And that's an energy movement rather than air movements. And so this is energy healing, using energies. If we use a an acid energy to negate an alkaline problem. We use an alkaline energy to negate an acid problem. You see, so we oppositize with energies. If we cannot remove it, we biologically transmutate it, make it from harmful into harmless. So one way or another, we're using friendly methods to, now these are not a cure. You build better health naturally. You don't cure it. We don't claim cures because it's an incorrect terminology. You can rebuild, restore, rejuvenate, heal, activate, and cleanse. But you can't cure, really. All you're really doing, if you think you've cured, if you've taken a painkiller so you can't feel the pain while the problem's eating away at your hip. You see? Why not leave your ability to feel the pain and remove what's eating away your hip?
Okay. Righty-ho. Now, Ron, just tell us a wee bit about you. You're actually fully booked at the moment, so people are going to have a hard job getting in to see you right now, but they can pre-book, can't they?
Yes, it pays to pre-book now. We're getting busy, you know. We're running about 2 weeks, you know, booked ahead now. So we're away on tour. We're shortening our tour because it's getting so booked down here. So we're shortening our tour, so we just go a brief tour around the North Island and Christchurch, and then we'll be right back here again on the 22nd of March. And we're spending more and more time here. This is our base. So if we go on a tour, we're back here. Another tour somewhere else, we're back here. So wherever we go, we're back here. We have an international little holiday coming up in Adelaide, but that's way on in May. But we'll always be back here and doing 5 or 6 weeks each time. So certainly those 6 weeks will book up reasonably quick. And there's a landslide of interest now in the alternative therapies and natural healing. People are coming from everywhere. We do healing in Zimbabwe and America and Australia over the phone, and the inquiries from there are building up too.
Okay, great stuff. So basically people need to ring right now and book for March.
Yes, and if for any reason while we're away on tour, if you have a problem, yes, we can still look after you over the phone. If you ring here, you'll be given the phone of where I am, and we'll handle it after 6 o'clock so the telecom won't charge like a wounded boar. and we'll look after it for you from a distance so to keep you right till we get back here.
Great stuff. Thanks, Ron. If you'd like to find out more, contact Ronald McGimpsy on 215747, and you can start your bookings now for March. Now, Ron, tree therapy, what are we going to do to this poor tree?
Well, actually, this is a spreading elm. It's been planted the right way around, and when you're planting a tree, replanting it, I should say, transplanting it, just make sure you face it the same north direction as it was when it grew from a seed. Otherwise, it's got no healing energies. So everything's got energy. We've got energy, trees have energy, crystals have energy, herbs have energy, vitamins have energy. So if you think of energy healing, there is practically nothing that shouldn't have energy. And it's harnessing that energy. Just keep it simple. Just let's harness that energy. So you ladies out there that like your flower gardens, you're getting something back. I mean, it isn't just you working for the flowers are working for you.
Okay. So we can get that effect by just walking underneath an elm tree?
You certainly can. There's several different healing trees, but this particular one in this garden is the best one here by a mile. And the older and more mature they get, the more useful. And the energies from this tree help you get the energies outside you. For example, we're outside the tree, you see, and we're moving a wee bit outside the tree now, and the energy outside the tree helps the energy outside us. When we were under the tree was helping the energies more inside or closer to us.
Okay, well, a lot of people might be quite skeptical about this concept. I mean, how do we explain that? To the skeptics out there who think, well, what's this tree? What's happening with this tree?
What we do is we do a kinesiology test. So in that's other words, we have your arm out like this, and then I'll just put the crystal away here. So we have an arm out here, and the person doing the measuring will not try to win. It's not a contest, but a measurement. So we'll measure your energy, and then we'll take your trip around the tree. You might turn around at different points where you can feel a little draft like you felt off those crystals before. And it's not a draft, it's energy. You've got to be very sensitive. It's almost undetectable, but it's there. And you'll find when you come back from under the tree, oh, my arm's stronger.
Okay.
Now, not every tree does this, but every tree does something. And this particular tree I use a lot. And when you use the crystals, this crystal here is an amethyst, and it's blue. It's got lovely blue of the sky here. And when we use this and the tree, both the tree and the crystal give you more. In other words, they're synergistic, they're multiplied. And so I go to Mother Nature as much as possible. You know, we don't have incantations. We don't get into the Eastern religion necessary or anything like that. We're trying to keep this the basics of just what nature has to offer, from the flower garden, from the trees, from the crystals, from the herbs. Try and keep it natural and keep it simple. So there's a herb for everything. There's a crystal for everything, and there's practically a tree for everything. And if you combine those, you get this synergistic effect. And also, it needs you. If you love that tree, the tree has more power. And
so it's not just you're actually thinking in your own mind that the tree has power. You're saying it actually does.
It actually does. There's power there. I teach this over the years because I'm nearly the only tree therapist in New Zealand. And I was up at the lifestyle exhibition in Auckland several years ago, and we went out and taught a group of people underneath the different trees, and I didn't know where they were. We went looking for them, and we found plenty. They're there. So in those lovely parks in Auckland, there's a lot of lovely healing trees. And the same as in the parks of every city in New Zealand. I've been in the parks of every city, and they've all got healing trees.
They've all got healing trees, so you can basically offer people the opportunity for you to come into their gardens and help their trees.
This is it, actually. If I like to get into the basis. When we do environment therapy, we like to get in there and find the wrong energies in places, from underground water, from digital clocks, from the back of fuse boxes, and from the white plastic jugs and everything, and neutralize that, and then find out where the good energies are, and let's harness them and show people how they can get benefit out of their own garden.
Okay, wonderful. Now, looking back at the crystal, I mean, can that help with just energizing the house and things like that? I mean, is it still, this particular crystal, is it still quite an energetic crystal to have around the house?
Yes, if you like to have your own crystals and put them at strategic points, it's just like having a garden with trees and flowers at strategic points. You know, they're all working for you. For example, color therapy didn't start with the color therapist, it started with the gardener. Every color, you sit in the middle of daffodils and you're going to have more intelligence, because yellow is the color of intelligence. You sit in the middle of red flowers and you'll have more circulation. Red's the color of circulation, and so on. And then there's the green and the oranges. Every color has a healing power.
Okay. Well, getting back to the tree, Ron, for example, I mean, when you come out here anyway, I think you feel a bit more enlightened because it's so beautiful and there's a lot of fresh air. So you're saying that is that the energy, or is that just the way we feel when we get out in the fresh air? Mm-hmm.
Both ways. What we do to remember before, when we were on crystals, how we used opposing crystals? Mm-hmm. When I'm working on a person under the tree, I'm going up and down with this crystal to reflect the energy back from the tree. So it's coming from the tree to the crystal and the patient's in between. And we're building up the etheric body, the auric body, the energy body, and these are all photographable by Kirlian photography. They are there. If they're weakened, you won't make enough adult white cells for a start. So if you want some cancer insurance, all right, some life insurance from cancer, let's get you making 8.3 million adult white cells a minute with the aid of a tree and a beautiful blue fluorite crystal working synergistically on these energy fields we carry around with us, the auras, the etheric body, the energy body, and even 18 feet out. The 18 feet out, what is the one that gives the power to the thymus to make adult white cells at 8.3 million a minute.
Great stuff. Thanks, Ron. Now, once again, we must remind people that you're actually fully booked at the moment, so if people want to see you, they're going to have to pre-book for March.
That would be right. Actually, the interest is building up, and we're finding now we're having to increase the number of people we do a day. We're trying to keep up with it, but we're 2 weeks behind, and usually before we leave on our tour, we've caught up with it. This time we're just a little bit behind. This is going to be a busy week, and so I'm working from 8 o'clock in the morning to nearly midnight now, trying to get it all cleared up before we go. And then we'll be back all nice and fresh for you at the 22nd of March for another 6-week burst here.
Great stuff. Okay, well, people can ring your phone number 2157 and book now for March, can't they?
They certainly can, and if you've got a problem that needs attended to in between, we'll handle it over the phone wherever we are in New Zealand and wherever you are.
Okay, well, keep doing wonderful things on tour there, Ron, and we'll catch you next time.
Thank you, Kirsten.
Great stuff. So that's Ronald McGimpsy. Remember, if you want to book, you've missed out right now, but you can pre-book for March, so contact him on 2157 417. We're down here at